Hey there everyone, I'm Nurse Don and welcome to ANP class. In this video, we'll be discussing about your digestive system. So let's get started. What about your digestive system? Your digestive system, digestion is the breakdown of large organic molecules into smaller molecules that can be absorbed. The digestive system performs the task of digestion. What are the functions of your digestive system? What are the functions of your digestive system? One function of your digestive system is simply the ingestion of solid and liquid, digestion of organic molecules. Let me write that one, guys. Just a moment. Okay, functions of your digestive system includes one, the ingestion of solid and liquid. Okay, consumption of your solid and liquid food that usually through the mouth, which initiates, of course, the mechanical breakdown of the food, and then digestion of organic molecules, digestion of your organic molecules, and then absorption, of course, of your nutrients, absorption of your nutrients. And then, I'm sorry for that, that's really loud. And then elimination of wastes. Elimination of wastes. Elimination of wastes product. The removal of undigested materials such as fiber from food plus other waste product from the body's feces. So in summary, the functions of the digestive system are to take in food, break down the food, absorb the digestive molecules, provide nutrients to the body, and eliminate those wastes. What are the compositions of your digestive system before we delve into its process? Let's discuss first the components of your digestive system. So what composes or comprises your digestive system? So we have your main organs of digestion, which includes the mouth, the esophagus, of course, the pharynx, the esophagus, the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, the rectum, and the anus. And we have also what we call associated organs or what we call as your accessory organs. What do you mean by the word accessories or accessory or associated? They are not directly in the digestive tract but have ducts that lead into the tract, which includes my favorite organ, liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and your salivary glands. Okay, now let's dig into the process of your digestive system. So the first main organ of your digestion obviously is the mouth. Obviously is the mouth, which consists of your teeth, what else? Your tongue, plus your and mix with what we call your saliva. And mix with your saliva, they form what we call as your bolus. Bolus. Di ba yan yung binibigay kapag Pasko? Charat. Bonus pala. Charat wali. Okay. So the first main organ, the process of digestion is your mouth. The mouth that initiates the mechanical breakdown of your food. The food taken into the mouth is chewed or masticated by the teeth. So let's take a closer look of your mouth. So the incisors here, the incisors and your canines, what are the functions? They are primarily cut and tear food. Whereas your premolars and your molars, what are their functions? Primarily crush and grind it. So digestion class starts in the oral cavity. So dito nag-uumpisa. Okay, digestion starts okay, in the oral cavity, wherein your chewing, your mastication, your salivation, that is actually the beginning of your starch digestion in the mouth, starch digestion, and of course, the process of your swallowing. Process of your swallowing, also known as your, what is the other term? Deglutition. Okay? Deglutition. Deglutition. Now, so digestion starts in the oral cavity where chewing, salivation, and swallowing all takes place. So, when a bolus is formed, class, the bolus is formed, your next organ that aids swallowing by grasping food and propelling it toward the esophagus is your pharynx. Yes. Okay. Where is your pharynx next? Is your organ pharynx. It connects the mouth to the esophagus. What is the function of your pharynx in your digestive system? It aids swallowing. Okay, it aids swallowing by through what? By grasping. Okay, by grasping food. By grasping food and propelling it and propelling it toward the esophagus. Toward the esophagus. That is the function, okay, of your pharynx. That is the function of your pharynx. Now, digestion begins or starts in the oral cavity, and then the food, the bolus, okay, specifically speaking, okay, the pharynx aids swallowing by grasping food and propelling it toward the esophagus. So, the food is now propelled into the esophagus. Esophagus po natin. Okay, propelled through your esophagus. Okay, that is aided by the pharynx. Now, before we further discuss the process, so starts in the mouth, and then the pharynx grasps the food to be thrown or propelled to the esophagus. Before we continue the process of your digestion, I want you to understand the phases of your swallowing. I want you to understand the phases of your swallowing. Let me take you back here, class. This is very important. Okay, the phases of your swallowing includes three phases. What are the three phases of your swallowing? First, we have what we call your voluntary phase. Okay, what happens during your voluntary phase? Take note. This is a bolus. That's very obvious. That's actually very big. Okay, ayan. That's a bolus. During your voluntary phase, your bolus of food that is color yellow, it is pushed by the tongue. Okay, you see this arrow? It is pushed by the tongue against the hard palate and the soft palate, and posteriorly towards the oropharynx. Okay? Again, during the voluntary phase, a bolus, this one, is pushed by the tongue against the hard palate and the soft palate and posteriorly toward the oropharynx. In other words, class, a bolus or mass of food is formed in the mouth. The tongue pushes the bolus against the hard palate. This forces the bolus towards the posterior part of the mouth into the oropharynx. And that is what is happening in your voluntary phase. Okay? That is what what is happening in your voluntary phase. Now, another phase of your swallowing. The second phase. What is the second phase? Pharyngeal. Okay, we have your pharyngeal phase. Okay, if involuntary phase, a bolus or mass of food is formed in the mouth. The tongue pushes the bolus against the hard palate, which forces the bolus towards the posterior part of the oropharynx. Now, what is happening in your pharyngeal phase? In pharyngeal phase class, the soft palate here, you see that? The soft palate is elevated. Okay, it is elevated. If your soft palate is elevated because of the presence of your bolus pushed by the tongue, what happens now to your nasopharynx? If your soft palate is elevated, you see that arrow class? Okay, if that is elevated, your soft palate is elevated, it causes now your nasopharynx to what? It what? It causes your nasopharynx to, yes, to close. The pharynx and the larynx are elevated also. You see that? Okay, elevated. In other words, what happens to your pharyngeal phase? Pharyngeal phase of swallowing is controlled by a reflex. This phase is initiated when a bolus or a food, mass of food, stimulates the receptor in the oropharynx. Pag na-stimulate yung receptor sa oropharynx po natin, ini-elevate or tinataas na yung soft palate. As I've said a while ago, when the soft palate is elevated, it leads now to the closing of your nasopharynx. So the pharynx elevates to receive the bolus of food from the mouth. Okay, that is what is happening to your pharyngeal phase. Now, in this phase class, okay, you see the three pharyngeal constrictor muscle there. Okay, constrictor muscle. They contract in succession. Okay, successive constriction, successive constriction. Okay, I'll repeat. The three pharyngeal constrictor muscles then contract in succession. That successive constriction forcing now the food through the pharynx, causing now the food through the pharynx. At the same time, the upper esophageal sphincter relaxes and food is now pushed into the esophagus. As food passes through the pharynx, the vestibular and vocal folds closes. And take note of this. Okay? As the food passes through the pharynx, what happens next? The vestibular fold and vocal fold closes. Nagko-close yan. And the epiglottis, this one, okay? The epiglottis now is tipped posteriorly. Okay, it is tipped posteriorly. Okay, it is tipped posteriorly so that the opening, okay, this is the opening, so that the opening of the larynx is covered. Why is that important? Because this movement of your epiglottis, the epiglottis is tipped posteriorly. It is tipped posteriorly. What is the purpose? In order to cover the opening of the larynx. Kasi kapag naka-open yan, hindi nag-tip posterior yung epiglottis po natin, pwedeng pumasok yung pagkain dun sa larynx po natin. And that is fatal. This movement of your epiglottis tip posteriorly to cover the larynx, this movement prevent food from passing into the larynx para hindi mapunta yung food, yung bolus doon sa opening ng larynx natin. Dapat ang food, okay, mouth, chewed, masticated by the mouth, and then aided by the pharynx, propropel niya sa esophagus. Ang pagkain na yan, hindi dapat mapunta yan sa opening ng larynx. Dapat dire-diretso yan sa esophagus. Now, we go to your third phase. And what is your third phase, class? This is what we call your esophageal. Okay, your esophageal phase. So we have three phases: voluntary, pharyngeal, and esophageal. In your esophageal phase of swallowing is responsible for moving food from the pharynx to the stomach. So as the inferior pharyngeal constrictor contracts, the upper esophageal sphincter, pag ito nag-contract, ano ang gagawin niya? Okay? If the inferior pharyngeal constrictor contracts, the upper esophageal sphincter should what? Should relax. Why is that so? Okay? It should relax so that the bolus, allowing the bolus now to enter dire-diretso sa esophagus. And then during the esophageal phase, it is moved through peristalsis. Okay, it is moved through peristalsis. What is a peristalsis, sir? It is actually a what? A rhythmic movement. It is a rhythmic movement, contraction, and relaxation. Contraction and relaxation of your smooth muscle. Relaxation of your smooth muscle, which propels liquid and solids through esophagus into the stomach. Okay? Yan yung tinatawag po natin na phases of your swallowing. Now, okay, first, okay, digestion occurs in the mouth. It occurs in the mouth. Digestion occurs first in the mouth, chewing, salivation, and then swallowing, and then the pharynx will propel, it will grasp the food, and then propel it towards the esophagus. Now, the food, the bolus is now in the esophagus. Okay? Your esophagus, as we know, that esophagus is a tube that connects the pharynx to the stomach. There is a particular, okay, when food moved to the bottom of your esophagus, remember this one, bottom of your esophagus, there is actually a sphincter. Okay, there's actually a sphincter. Okay, this one. Okay, when food moved to the bottom of your esophagus, okay, actually there is a sphincter here. Okay, sphincter muscle, that is a muscular muscle called your LES. Okay, what is your LES again, class? That is your esophageal, lower esophageal sphincter. Lower esophageal sphincter. Okay? And take note, guys, when this loses too much, magkakaroon po yan ng tinatawag nating gastric reflux. Yun, naririnig nyo yan. You commonly heard that one. When this sphincter loses too much, it will lead to a gastric reflux. Okay, so digestion begins in the mouth, and then the pharynx will propel the food into the esophagus. And then after your esophagus, class, okay, Next up, we have your stomach. We have your stomach. Okay, we have your stomach. So your stomach has four main regions. We have your cardia here, your cardia. That is actually lies near the junction of the stomach. It lies on the junction of the stomach. And we have also the fundus, this one. Have here the fundus. Okay, fundus. That is actually the enlarged portion. Enlarged portion that is above. And let me use another color for the body. Ayan. That is the body. That is the middle portion. Is the middle portion. Okay, the middle portion. And then your body is the middle portion. We have also what we call your, what else? Your body middle portion, the lower portion. Yes, lower portion, which is actually your pylorus. Okay, lower portion, which is actually your pylorus. Py. Okay, wrong spelling. Okay, that's it. That is the lower portion. Okay, that is the lower portion. That's your pylorus. Okay, pylorus means gate. Pylorus means your gate. Okay, what is exactly happening to your stomach? So your stomach has a four regions. We have your cardia, your fundus, and then your body, and then your pylorus. As you can see, class, okay, let me draw here. This is the body. Ayan, yung kulay blue. Yan yung body. And then, let me use another color. We have here your hydrochloric acid. No, it's not visible. You cannot see. Let me use a darker color. Maybe black. Hydrochloric acid. Perfect. Okay. And then we have here a sphincter. Obviously, that is called as your pyloric sphincter. Okay, obviously that is called as your pyloric sphincter. Okay, what is the importance of those parts of the stomach? So there are four main regions. We have your cardia, your fundus, your body, and your pylorus. Take note, class. Food is not allowed to leave the stomach until uniformly fixed. Remember that one, class. Okay? Food is not allowed to leave stomach until uniformly mixed in order to form what we call your, this is actually a board exam question, your chyme. Your chyme is your paste-like substance that is actually a semi-fluid substance. Again, food not allowed to leave the stomach until uniformly mixed by what? Uniformly mixed to form a chyme that is a paste-like substance, that is a semi-liquid substance. And also, class, and also, dito natin isulat, class, hindi na natin nakikita. And also, there's a special cell in the stomach. And what is that special cell, class? What is that special cell under your stomach? That is called as your parietal cell. That is called as your parietal cells. And these parietal cells, okay, let me draw that one, class, again. And this, okay, parietal cell Anong ginagawa ng parietal cell po natin? Parietal cell make hydrochloric acid. Okay? The function of your specialized cell in your stomach, which is your parietal cell, make your what? Hydrochloric acid. What is the function of your hydrochloric acid? Which inhibits what? Pathogens. Which inhibits pathogens from invading the digestive system. And another cool role of your parietal cell, aside from making your hydrochloric acid, is to what? Another cool role is to activate the enzyme pepsin. Okay? What is your pepsin? That is an enzyme which begins the breakdown of what? Breakdown of proteins. Breakdown of proteins in the stomach. Breakdown of proteins in the stomach. And then you should remember, class, you should remember that stomach empties. Okay, your stomach empties every what? Every 4 hours. Okay? Kaya nga after 4 hours, nagugutom ka na naman. Every 4 hours, after of course a regular meal. 6 to 8 hours yan after eating a high-fat meal. Okay? So your stomach empties every 4 hours. So that is all about your stomach. Very simple. Then we come to your small intestine. Okay, I discussed that already, class. Okay, let's skip this. Okay, and then we go to your small intestine. What is happening to your small intestine? Then we come to your small intestine. Mm. Your small intestine obviously is the longest organ. No, it is the longest organ. You have to be very specific. Longest organ in the GI tract. Okay, longest organ in the GI tract, measuring about 20 inches long. So that's around 6 meters long. Okay, with, of course, with, oh, I'm sorry, it's not writing. Okay, with, come on. With fold. Okay, with fold. Woohoo. It's not writing. Okay, let me try with fold. It's not functioning. Okay, with fold.